King County just dropped its March numbers, and there is one stat that completely changes the conversation for buyers and sellers right now. Active inventory is up 35% from last year. That's nearly 5,000 homes sitting on the market. And at the same time, the number of homes under contract or pending are down, and closed sales are also down. And mortgage rates just climbed back up to 6.38%. So what does that actually mean for you? Whether you own a home, you're thinking about selling, or you've been waiting on the sidelines to buy, stick around because I'm about to break down exactly what's happening and what you should be doing about it right now. So the Northwest Multiple Listing Service, or NWMLS, just released the March 2026 market snapshot, and I want to walk you through key numbers for King County specifically, including Seattle, because the countywide data tells a very different story than the statewide averages. So we need to stick to just King County specifically. Median home prices in King County are at $859,618. That's up just 0.5% from last year. So basically pretty flat year over year. Month over month though, that's actually up 3.2% from February. Keep in mind, these are March numbers. So February, which makes sense because we're heading into spring and usually prices go up. Active listings are 4,990, up nearly 35% year over year from last March. And that's a big jump. A year ago, there were only 3,700 homes on the market. New listings are at 3,750 came on in March alone, up 10% from last year. But here's where it gets interesting. Pending sales are at 2,493. That's down 6.3% from last March. Closed sales are at 1,878, down 5.7%. So let me translate that for you. More homes are hitting the market, but fewer people are actually buying them. Inventory is growing and piling up, and the reason is pretty straightforward. Mortgage rate. Rates dipped below 6% briefly back in March. If you followed along, you know that. And then they climbed right back up to 6.38% by the end of March. And that was enough to cool things off. Sellers have decided though that they need to get on with their lives, and even though they'd be giving up on their low mortgage rate, they still go ahead and sell. But buyers just can't afford to pull the trigger right now. That tension between motivated sellers and hesitant buyers is really what is defining this spring market right now. Months of inventory right now sits at 2.66 months. A balanced market is typically anywhere from 3 to 4 months up to 6 months. So even with these new homes, this new inventory, we're still technically in a seller's market, but it is really the closest we've been to a balanced market in a really long time. So what does this mean if you're a buyer? If you're a buyer, here's what this means for you. First, the good news. You have options. Nearly 5,000 active listings is the most inventory we've seen in King County in many years. Gone are the days where you had to bite over every single house that you saw on the market. You can actually take your time, compare properties, and find something that fits your life. Second, you have negotiating power that you did not have 18 months ago. With inventory climbing this fast, sellers are more willing to negotiate on price than they have been in the past and on closing costs and repairs. I'm seeing more price reductions right now than I've seen in a while. If a home has been sitting for 2 or 3 weeks, there's definitely room to have a conversation. Now the challenging part for buyers. Rates are at 6.38%, meaning your monthly payment on that $860,000 median price home is significantly higher than it would have been at 5.9%. So you really need to get clear on your numbers before you actually start shopping. My advice, get pre-approved right now. Know exactly what you're comfortable with and do not wait for rates to drop to some magic number, because every time rates dip even a little bit, more buyers jump in and you then lose the leverage you have that's right now. What does this mean if you're a seller? Now, if you're a seller or you're thinking about listing this spring, here's the reality check. Your home will sell. Inventory is still well below balanced market level. There are buyers out there ready to purchase. Showings were up 19% from February, and key box activity increased almost 25% month over month as we went into March. People are out looking, but this is important. The era of listing your home on a Thursday and having 5 offers by Monday is over for most properties. Now, it still exists here and there. If your home is priced right and shows well, it absolutely will sell. But if you overprice it by even 3 to 5%, it's really going to sit. And in this market, the longer it sits, the worse it looks to those buyers who are going through it. Here's what I I'm telling my sellers right now. Price it right from day one. Do not test the market with an aspirational number. The median price is holding steady at $859,000, so values are not dropping, but buyers do have choices now, and they're being very, very, very selective. Also, invest in presentation, professional photos, staging, and a solid first impression. This is so important. In a market where buyers have more options, the homes that look great are the ones that get offers first. So invest in making sure it looks great. There's been a lot of noise about whether the market is going to crash or whether we're heading into some kind of correction. Here's what the data actually shows. Prices in King County are essentially flat year over year. They're not dropping, they're not skyrocketing, they're very stable. What is changing is the pace. The market is moving slower, buyers have more time, sellers need a little bit more patience, and that is actually healthy. A market where things sell in 48 hours with no inspection is definitely not normal, and it's not good for anyone. We're moving towards something that looks more like a real market where both sides can make informed decisions, and that's a good thing, whether you're buying or selling. If you want to see these numbers laid out in a clean one-page format, I put together a market update that you can download. Link is in the description below, so take a look at that. And if you're wondering how any of this applies to your specific neighborhood or your specific situation, send me a message. I do this every single day, and I'm happy to walk through the numbers with you. If this was helpful, also hit that subscribe button, please. I put out market updates and Seattle real estate content every single week, and I'd love to have you follow along. And drop a comment and let me know, are you buying, selling, or are you just watching from the sidelines right now? I want to hear from you. I'll see you in the next one.